Hello, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, which we'll be talking about today. I'm your host, Bonilla, and I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Steve Zeck.
What's up?
And Ellie Martin.
Heyo.
Today, we are discussing the latest 5 episodes released online of OKKO, the latest in Season 3. We have the episodes Whatever Happened to Rippy, Planet X, Deep Space Vacation, Big Reveal, and Radical Rescue. If you want to catch up on our previous discussions on OKKO, you can do that at overlyanimated.com. You can always find us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. You can, wherever you listen to us, whatever podcatcher you use, we always appreciate any ratings and reviews you want to leave us. But yeah, we've got more OKKO to talk about. I think a little bit sooner than some of us were expecting, and a very, very consequential group of episodes. So we'll get right into it. But first, for people who have been listening to this podcast for a while, you know it's usually the crew of me, Michelle, and Steve. But today we have a new addition, Allie, who recently binged the entire show. And I'm interested to get your thoughts, Allie, on what your general thoughts on the show are, especially like in the context of binging it, because now there's like a whole show practically. So like I wonder how it feels like going through it in one go versus the way we've done it like bit by bit. Like what's your general grasp on the show?
Well, when I started, I didn't expect to be as into it as I wound up being, because I just knew it was like, it's about a boy who wants to be a hero. So I kind of just expected more like shonen-y, like Hero Academia kind of setup. But obviously the humor is really different, and I think that's what really kept me going on it so fast. I think I really started to get into it after like the first, maybe, I want to say like 15 episodes. It didn't take me that long, but I also didn't realize how long it was. The way the characters are just developed and like, what's the term? Like just over time, the more you see of them, the more I love them. It's just so good. I don't know. It's very non-problematic in my mind. Like, there's nothing bad about it for me so far, but I don't want to jinx anything. Well, Enid is my fave, obviously, but...
Okay, yeah. Enid is a strong choice. And yeah, I think we've talked a bit before about, like, the general wholesomeness of this show. Although we're getting into some different territory in this season. But overall, it's been a very
like, honestly, I think
show.
When TKO... like was introduced, I was like, oh, okay, this is going down a road that I didn't expect, but it's like the perfect road for it to go down. Like, we need more shows like that.
Yeah.
Where there's dark sides to the hero and, you know, dramatic.
And of the dark side, that is something that is touched upon in this batch of episodes. So what did you think, Allie, about specifically this group? Like, what stood out to you the most of these episodes?
The fact that the deep reveal was not the last episode to be revealed. I think that was like the most jarring thing, but also kind of expected. Just the episode after that, you know, it was like, so we're moving right along. Okay. But it's also it keeps in with OKKO. I feel like they've done stuff like this before.
Okay.
Like they've had big stuff and it's like, oh my God. And then we just move on to like a cute, not filler episode, but like a more lighthearted episode.
Right, like it sometimes takes us a couple of episodes to get back to the story from like a big story episode. So that, yeah, you're right, that makes sense. Michelle, how about you? What's your biggest takeaway from this group of episodes?
I mean, I can't say it because we can't get into spoilers yet, can we?
I mean, if you're listening to this...
I mean, if we're allowed to give spoilers, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing for me
who's
is
listening
like...
to this podcast and not...
I don't know, Steve.
Okay, well, Allie gave a general positive take, so with that, like, look, these are good episodes. Spoiler alert. Okay, we're good.
There you go.
Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah.
My biggest thing that I came away with was honestly, like, I could not believe how versatily attractive Venomous is.
Yes.
As both, like, thick, like, chonky kind of, like, built laser blast and, like, slim, snaky, like, sneaky Venomous. Like, he can pull off so many looks, and I'm very jealous of him. He's so lucky. He's attractive in so many forms.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really weird.
That checks out as your biggest takeaway, Michelle. So,
It's true.
Steve, what's the biggest thing that stood out to you of this group?
Well, besides the big reveal, it's the fact that these batches episodes were sort of like two little arcs were going on here. It was first, so a couple episodes was about sort of this laser blast arc, and the other ones were this Radicles arc.
Yeah,
So,
we joked about if we were gonna get a rad arc. And you guys said no.
I've been waiting
But
for it.
Yeah, look at what we got. We got one. So
Yeah, you're right.
But-
Enid,
but-
Rad, and KO. The Rad has like maybe the shortest arc, but it's still an arc.
yeah, the Starfire of our show. I've been talking about the old Teen Titans show, if you're familiar with that. I'll tell you what, the takeaway for me though is like, of course, the big reveal episode was sort of a big game changer, but it made me have to go back to some previous episodes, especially the episodes in the previous batch, like TKO Rules, like the KO Trap, or in KO versus Fink. I had to re-examine those episodes after finding out all this new information.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about like what this does for KO's character, if anything, when we get deeper into it. Just my general thoughts. I think that this continues the streak of very high quality for OKKO season 3. Like I think almost all these episodes are like really great, and that it I think like OKKO has like vaulted into a new level in this season, so like it definitely fits in with like best shows of this year. And it's peaking with Big Reveal, obviously, but also the Rad episodes are a lot better than I would have expected if you told me that we were gonna have 2 Rad episodes. Rippy Roo was funny enough, and like had its asides.
I thought we had like 3 Rad episodes, really.
Yeah,
Well,
3.
yeah.
Counting the cat one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's true. That's true. Oh, we're gonna talk about
So
those
technically,
cats.
he has like the longest arc. It's just the most.
Condensed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like what it does for KO's character, like it tosses in some new wrenches, even though there's stuff that we theorized for a while, but like now that it's finally confirmed, we can like dig a bit more concretely into it. So with that being said, I think that is the headline that we kind of have to talk about by default first, the big reveal.
Mhm.
So at the very beginning of the episode, this is just a great comedic moment. It just starts like 5 seconds of silence. It's like, so this is my dad. Laser blast, and then it's like one of the best
good.
episode openings I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
And as we go through the episode, we eventually get to the reveal that Professor Venomous is in fact Laser Blast, and we get his whole backstory of how he turned into Professor Venomous. And we have a whole Star Wars parody of "I Am Your Father."
That I couldn't take seriously. I have to be honest.
It was pretty good.
Well, OKKO specializes in parody of many things, and so Star Wars was bound to be there eventually. But yeah, so now that we have this information, again, like we've been talking about Professor Venomous and Laser Blast for a long time, so now that it's finally laid out in front of us, what were your reactions given that? Michelle, how did you feel about this quote big reveal?
This is not the first time this has happened in this show, but my immediate reaction was like, "Oh my god, Steve was right again!" Because that's like, I'm so sorry, Steve. Like every time you come up with a really intense theory, I'm always like, I don't know about that, man. Like, what about all this other evidence? But like time and time again, you've been right, and it seriously blows my mind.
And for this podcast, I have a theory on who or what shadowy figure is, which I'll get to later.
We talked about it last pod too, and I'm like, maybe you're right about that too. I mean, who knows at this point?
I got more thoughts on shadowy figure. It's coming together more after this episode. What exactly shadowy figure is? I wasn't sure last time. I just knew there was a connection, but now I'm starting to get an idea.
Well, good job giving Steve credit for this, because otherwise he would have taken credit for himself.
I mean, it's good good to point out when things are right. I mean, it's hilarious because we spent like a year and a half now being like, oh yeah, they have the same voice actor, but that can't mean anything, right? I mean, he's different skin color. But no, it was him all along, and oh man, good job, Steve.
Well,
yeah. Do you want to gloat a little bit, Steve?
No. I was sure what I was gonna say. Outside of I tell you, outside if I was Carol, yeah, if I was Carol, first thing like when I found this out, if I was Carol, first thing I'm saying to Venomous is, you owe me lots and lots of child support.
Oh, Steve, were you the one who posted that Tumblr thing?
No,
no,
but I was thinking the same thing. I thought they were going to do that joke in the episode. I thought she was actually going to go there in this episode saying, you owe me years of child support, buddy.
Oh my god. No, can I, I took the screenshot from it because somebody got real sassy on Tumblr after this episode, and they wrote this whole thing about how, Venomous owes KO child support.
Yeah.
And, they did a calculation, so he's like, all right, so let's say average non-custodial parent must pay $2,500 per month. He missed 11 years. He, does this calculation for, 11 years equals, $330,000, and then they end it by saying IDK. Why? Look this up. It's clear Venomous is reaching the peak on us liking him. Carol and KO deserve at least a financial apology from Professor Venomous if he's not sorry by heart. Plus, we're all thinking that this guy would not pay child support. Let's be honest. And it just killed me. It's the best thing I've ever read. I love the KO fans so much.
And the thing is, though, Venomous, he was there all the time. He saw all the effects that Laser Blast's disappearance had on everyone. What it did to, say, Mr. Gar, what it did to Carol, what it did to, Foxtail, what it did to everybody. And he just stood there, just didn't say a thing, just watching all his friends just fall apart. And he just didn't he didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Shows you how evil he is.
Yeah, that's why he makes such a good villain, I guess. He was just willing to stand by and not deal with any of the ramifications.
And it's also, like I said, it turns the KO dynamic in terms of is Boxman kind of his stepdad? Is Fink kind of his half sister? It's and what about the Darryls and Shannon and Raymond? Are they sort of his siblings?
I didn't think we were gonna get to this soon, but yes, that was my thought. I actually was wait, so now are Botsman and Carol gonna have a weird divorced parents and new parents dynamic situation here?
And we saw a couple of batches ago. We saw how more nicer sometimes KO and the robots are getting along a little bit better. Like that one time they took KO home when he was feeling well and tucked him in. So maybe that's foreshadowing.
I love that Botsman already knew about this. Venomous, in one of their intimate conversations, is just hey, by the way, you should know, I'm actually KO's dad.
He's a good, evil partner. He disclosed all of his personal information to the one he loves the most. So it makes perfect sense. Boxman knew about it.
Yeah. Allie, what since you were going through this on a binge, so did you what were you thinking about about Laser Blast or Professor Venomous as you were watching, and how did this reveal play out for you?
Well, I think everybody, I definitely thought Professor Venomous was shadowy figure, and I still do think they have to be connected because they're the same voice, they have the same 3 dots on the cheek. I still think he has 3 different identities because, I don't know, that would also make it not more interesting. I don't know. I feel I don't know. It's not predictable, but it also kind of is. But the way that they went about it was very well. I mean, they were joking about I thought we were going to draw it out more, but I think this was a good time to reveal it.
I kind of wanted Professor Venomous' response to be, we don't know how many seasons we have left, right? So we gotta do this now.
A little on the nose, but they more or less that's kind of what they're saying.
I mean, it's meta enough that it's we should torment him for at least another season.
At least another season, yeah.
Yeah, so anytime a character mentions seasons, that's always good enough for a meta joke there. And yeah, as Michelle touched upon, the type of backstory that he gets is very interesting, and I mean, obviously, it's going on the basic of somebody wanting more power, right? But
I don't know about you.
Yeah, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but his original power, his power is he drains other people's powers. That's an evil power, you know. That's just a power more for a villain, draining other people's power. It's not exactly hero-like powers. So
Yeah, I want to see like the conflict that he has, like the feelings that he has about that, like when he was laser blast, because he definitely has inner turmoil about it. He needs therapy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We all need therapy. But,
True.
yeah, Venomous, or Laser, what do I even call him?
Well,
Like,
he's
Venomous
venomous
Blast.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he was Laser Blast, we see his previous romantic relationship with then Silver Spark, now Carol. So it's good to finally see a little bit more of that. They like kiss
That
in the
also
middle.
means he's like queer, like he's open. I don't know how he identifies, but like I guess I just assumed he was gay, but like I don't know. I mean, maybe he could
He's
see, like
bi?
I want to, like at the end, like whenever this show ends, I want to know canonically how Venomous identifies, not because it's a big deal, but kind of because it's a big deal to me. Like, did it change? Did he think he was straight? But then like when like his life changed and became emo, he's like, no man, like I can be whatever I want, and this box man, like I don't know, like I love him. Or did he always know? And is he like Pan? Like who knows, man? But that's very interesting to me.
I'm kind of wondering, is Fink still like his biological daughter, and she just doesn't know?
Biological.
I mean, I'm just saying.
He
No,
had
he
this
said-
conversation last time. Steve.
I
Yo.
know, but he could have knocked out an adult rat. He could have knocked up an adult rat, and that
No,
this time
but
could have just
Steve,
dropped
we saw the backstory of her being found in a dumpster. Like that's they can't be biological.
Oh no, I know now. He could be a lie. It could all be a lie. You never know. You can't trust him anymore on his words.
I mean, that's true too. But I cannot imagine he had a relationship with like a rat for some reason.
I can imagine though. I just imagine in my head a rat just bringing this basket and just leaving his doorstep saying, "Okay, I'm leaving. This is you gotta deal with the consequences, buddy." Like,
So
no,
then,
okay,
okay,
he
question.
did it once. He did it once with Carol. He can do it again with somebody else. So,
But he kept Fink. So why would he keep Fink, but then just not tell KO anything? That's a little weird to play favorites.
I don't know favors.
Power
Actually, the way I look at it differently is to her. I think Fink and her turbo powers, in a way, I'm just saying, just assume she's not his biological daughter. I think she's just a guinea pig.
Yeah.
That power to what he's going to give to his biological son later on. He's like, she was a test.
She's a literal lab rat in that
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yes, that's true. Al.
Literal lab
But
rats.
Oh, and I do
Yeah.
wonder, though, what KO and Fink's like dynamic will be in the future. Would he view her as like his
brother?
little sister? Would he be like a little protective for her if she go do something stupid, put herself in danger? Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess we have to wait and see in the future.
Fink does not play well with others. I mean, she had that whole situation with Daryl before, so I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like she's gonna probably be jealous of KO, honestly,
Oh,
because
yeah.
like she calls him boss. He can actually call him dad. That's probably gonna be a
Yeah.
big deal to her.
And I do think though, if we saw the sidekick scout episode, I think KO's the type person. I think he'd be excited to be a big brother to somebody. I think he would love that, but you know, I just think it's not someone he had in mind for that. But you know,
Okay,
That'd be such a
this
weird
is a little
dynamic.
bit. This is a little bit more on the KO Fink dynamic. Like we need
Oh,
to
by the
talk
way, I
about
just
KO's
discovered,
relationship
shows
with
how many
Venomous.
kids-
Like we haven't talked about that yet.
there are. I found out. I didn't even know that was such a thing on the internet. I mean, damn, people are so upset that their ships is kind of dead now. I'm like, why would you ship her in the first place?
People ship
She's so
them.
much younger than him, and
Do they
the-
ship?
He's 6 to 11 years old.
Yeah,
He
he's
can't be
6 to
shipped with
11. He's a
anyone.
baby. He's a
Yeah.
little baby boy.
And also KO Dendi already exists. So like,
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, they are friends. Excuse you.
Okay,
They're
okay,
just
okay,
friends
I'm-
of house cards.
to get it off the rails here.
Right. Okay. Anyways, more. I think a bit more importantly to the story, right? Because KO Fink. I mean, we had one episode that was fine, but KO and
I do
Venomous
have
in
to
this
do that
episode, we
differently.
see KO having a bit of a struggle with coming to terms with this information, and at the very end, once this is revealed, we start seeing his like purple lightning powers begin to come out, like his TKO-ness is like trying to break out. A daddy offers to have him join his work.
No!
Do not say daddy.
Don't
ever.
say daddy, please.
He said daddy. How'd you like to join daddy at work today?
And when Daryl only, no one else.
But like his face when he says daddy is very sexy. Like you have to admit that.
Disgusting.
No.
Disgusting.
Anyway, so KO does not reject this outright. He's like, well, I want to understand TKO better. We could like hang out on weekends. They beat
Oh my
him
God,
up
I love how
anyway.
Carol agrees
Does
with
she
him.
have some remorse for what he did to TKO a while ago? Already?
Probably.
I don't know he's evil. I'm okay with him just being evil, but I do think like he has a curiosity to be up KO. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Okay, so like the shadowy figure thing, like we don't know. I mean, it's becoming increasingly more obvious that like probably he has two identities. That seems like a lot of identities for one person, but maybe that's true. But if that's true, and he like, I don't know, like where did TKO come from? How does that relate to Venomous? Because he seemed like a normal guy before.
I got thoughts on that. First of all, I think looking back at TKO rules, that ending, I kind of see how harsh KO was. It kind of wonders. It's kind of like apple does not fall far from the tree. I guess that's sort of his villain side because he's so harsh. That's not the KO we know and love behavior in that episode. But also, I think I know Shadowy Figure. You know who I think Shadowy Figure is? I think he's sort of he's either Venomous's own version, his turbo-ness, his TKO, or he's literally Venomous's like shadow clone.
Clone?
I know ever seen the anime Naruto.
No. I've heard of that storming Area 51.
Yeah,
I've heard of Boruto's dad before.
Yeah,
but I don't know about anything else.
Last podcast I mentioned the shadow projection theory. Is that like the same thing, or is that different from the shadow?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe he could still be.
I don't think he's literally like in KO versus Fink. I don't think he was in two places at once. I think he was in his office the whole time, and Shadowy Figure is like a part of him, but not his physical body.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So some kind of
projection.
projection.
Being a TKO figure.
Has KO ever like touched? Has anybody ever laid a finger on Shadowy Figure? Ever actually?
No,
like,
only KO's really ever seen him too.
Yeah.
So that star's still there. Like he's not a physical being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but Mr. Gar knows he exists, doesn't he? Because like that secret mission.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying he's like either like a clone. Like he's maybe he's just something like you can't touch. Like if you try to hit him, you go right through him.
Oh, so he's a clone like the clones he made of like Rad and Enid that turn into goop, maybe?
Perhaps,
Okay. I mean, he has made clones before, so that checks out.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we kind of strayed a little bit again into the Shadowy Figure, but I just want to know, like, what do you guys think about what effect? Because throughout the season 3 KO, we've like sort of been on the lines like him figuring out his place as a hero situation, like especially with TKO rules, like figuring out like harsh decisions that he needs to make. And now we have this thrown in where it's like him kind of on the line between staying a hero, and like he says to Carol at the end, like I choose to be a hero, but we have this side of him like being curious about exploring his other sides. So I'm just interested in what you guys think this means for KO going forward, his willingness to explore that side of himself.
It's probably a good thing because I'm still very upset about TKO's situation. I don't think he deserves that. I don't think he's like a villain yet. I think he could be if his relationship with KO gets worse, but I don't think he's there yet. So I feel like if KO like starts hanging out with Venomous and understanding his power, he can make a more conscious decision to use it for, the purposes of good. And TKO can be a part of that. He honestly has in the past. Mm-hmm. So I think like this probably needs to happen, but I'm still just like, TKO does not deserve this. He has like so little autonomy. And I hope that KO can make up with him soon. Because, like, the longer this plays out, the more upset TKO is probably going to get. And the less likely he's going to want to work with KO. Maybe he'll just try to possess him again because he's that mad.
Mm-hmm. Allie, do you have any thoughts on where KO's headed?
I don't know. Michelle pretty much covered it, but I'm glad that I liked that Carol was also like, yeah, I mean, why not? Like, you can go figure out your dark side if you want, like, because she recognizes that it's something that has to happen too, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the best mom ever, and I love it.
Yeah, she's very supportive. It's really nice.
Best mom award of the year, every year, forever.
That's why we gotta fight for the child support, because Carol probably doesn't have time for that, but we're on her side. We'll get it for her.
Yes. Charity fund to raise money.
Do we know any lawyers on the show?
Oh, maybe.
I mean, in the plaza, is there like at least one like law firm in the plaza?
I mean, Gar kind of looks like a lawyer. He's got like the
he can
just without the shirt.
Because Venomous makes bank. Like, he has so much money. And I bet he money launders because he's a villain. But, like, still, there's a lot he could be giving to the KO College Fund.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed seeing Carol and Venomous, like, tussle for a little bit. Like, it
was kind of hot. In a way. Yeah, right? No, it was, though. Like,
I was going to say there was a lot of tension, but yes, the hotness.
Tension. You people.
Yeah.
Well, when that happened, was Boxman there to see that? You know,
no,
we get a little jealous.
For a second.
He wasn't there. Okay, good, because I could just see him a little bit jealous. I could see him be a little jealous. So
Venomous told Botsman to get the deal ready while he was handling this family business. So.
Yeah.
Botsman's gonna feel more guilty than jealous, actually, because he like knew about it and he knows Carol could kick his butt. And he's probably just gonna be like, "Hey, can we be friends? I'm sorry, I didn't steal him. He's just evil now. You understand?" But
is Botsman like the type to be friends with his partner's ex? You think?
Well, I think he wants to be amiable, like most, awkward ex relationships. Like, he's gonna be friends.
Dinner and then laxatives or something.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear laxatives?
Yeah, he'll invite them to dinner and put laxatives in their food. Like, he's that
aggressively get revenge.
Yeah. That seems like a Botsman power move. Yeah.
The fact though that Venomous he's purple. He has purple face. I kind of wondering if that's a homage to say like someone like the Joker, who I guess originally was normal skinned and then is like has his like white skin now, or even Dr. Dragon from Kim Possible. If you saw his backstory, he originally also had normal human face.
Maybe.
Yeah, but villains being physically altered is a thing that exists in media. So,
haven't you guys seen The Wizard of Oz? No, I'm joking.
Wasn't she always green though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless we're thinking about the Broadway musical, then yeah.
I think she was always green no matter what. Anyway, we're off topic.
What's wrong with green? Until Kermit the Frog will be saying, "What's wrong with green?"
Okay.
Oh God,
enough green stuff. Let's see. Any other stuff that I guess just talking a little bit about the actual telling of the backstory. Like I already mentioned, like the romance part of it, but we also get that moment where they're in the bedroom together, and like Laser Blast is kind of distraught, and Carol is trying to support him, but then he gets hurt when he hears Carol say something that kind of contradicts sort of what she said to him in private.
Okay, hang on.
So,
I've thought about this for a while. So I think the issue is like Laser Blast was never content with his powers. He always felt insecure. So he ended up taking away all of his powers by trying to pursue more power and did himself in. Like, I think Carol's whole thing is like, look, you're on a superhero team. Your power is awesome and it comes in handy a lot. So, like, him not being strong enough for, like, a crazy situation doesn't necessarily mean he's not strong enough to be a good hero. He kind of got rid of his own powers, and that's his fault for not being okay with himself in the first place.
The tea.
And it connects well with KO's story. Like, early in the series, he had that same insecurities towards Rad and Enid, that he felt he was the weak link of their team, and it shows difference that he was able to overcome it and didn't consume himself and become evil. So interesting.
That's a
Yeah.
very good point,
Parallels.
Steve. Like it's like comparing the pursuit for absolute power versus being okay with a power that serves a certain purpose, right? And like
Yeah.
that's kind of been a thing in the show throughout, and it's also the case here with laser blasts. So. But yeah, Venomous loses his powers in like trying to hide the evidence, and he, in pursuit of trying to regain it, he turns himself purple, but eventually he gets rich selling to villains. So he loses any sense of morality. It's like, well,
And he really needs therapy.
Money is power.
yeah, that line that like I think he said something like, "You don't need powers to have power," and like money's falling from the sky. It's like such a it's such like a billionaire move to me.
On a train.
Yeah. A Donald
He's kind
Trump
of
movie.
like forgetting that like he must be a very brilliant engineer / scientist to make patents on things villains can pay good money for. So it's not like just anyone can do that. He must be exceptionally smart in certain ways and exceedingly dumb in others to get himself into that predicament in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, yeah, he could just sell the same stuff to Point. They would have taken it, I think.
Well, they do show that little scene where he's like, "Hey, maybe we should try taking these balls of that suck power," and it's like, "No, we got to destroy them." And so, like,
well, I'm talking about the
that's-
post after Laserbath disappears, when Foxtail becomes a little crazy for a bit. You know, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
that
because
point
Foxtail's another character that like had to deal with like the whole power structure problems, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
just
I'm-
been a thing throughout this show. And one final note at the end, like Carol and KO beat them up, and they're like, "Hey, I'll choose to be hero. I'll get you ice cream at Wiener Kebab." So I want to quickly
Carol's
ask.
such a good mom.
Wiener Kebab.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
like
want
a
to ask,
hot
like,
dog
what?
place.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to ask. Would you go to a place called Wiener Kebab for ice cream?
Yes, because
Yes!
you know what? It's always like false advertising. It's always the places that serve like pizza or meat that have the best ice cream.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Okay.
Ice cream is ice cream, so...
Not true.
Like-
Cold Stone's overpriced and sucks compared to just, that
Well-
sweet soft serve for 50
Exactly.
cents.
Well, I don't know you guys,
Yeah.
but personally, I think the best ice cream is Baskin Robbins, but that's just me.
I like
up
the
there.
one that I can go to my freezer in the kitchen.
Yes,
So,
I like it.
The one
As we
you
speak,
buy
though-
bulk at the grocery store, I feel that.
yeah.
That's
Like,
what-
why do I want to go to a place that specifically sells ice cream when I could just have it whenever I feel sad at home? So,
Or
Alright.
when it's hot, it don't have to be sad. It can just be hot too.
That's true. That's
The
true.
hot makes him sad.
Aww.
Mhm. No, that's not wrong. So that was the biggest thing to come out of it. But as mentioned in at the beginning, 3 of these episodes deal with Brad, a character that we've had, at least personally speaking, I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but we've had a bit of an on and off relationship with Brad over the show.
Mhm.
In terms of like, at times he comes off very abrasive, at times he's a bit charming and like he shows his vulnerability. And at least for me, I think that this part of the Rad arc is leaning towards that second part where we're like diving into his vulnerabilities, and that's what makes him. When they do that is when he's a more interesting character. So I enjoyed these Rad episodes. But how do you guys feel about the usage of Rad in these 3 eps, Allie?
I'm glad we got to see his family because I've been kind of waiting for that since we initially saw them being like nerdy and alien like, and I'm glad we got like it's the reveal that it's like, oh, there are 2 types of aliens on this planet and you're like the perfect blend. Basically, I was like, oh, it's cute, a little cliche, but I appreciated it because he is a cliche jock nerd. He's the best. I also had a love-hate relationship with him at the beginning of the series because it can be adult, but he's a precious boy. He needs to be protected.
Aw, okay. Michelle, your Rad thoughts in these episodes?
Everything Allie said, but also the cat episode
Yes.
was everything. So many cute cats got animated for that episode, and I also was a little sad that they punched Michaela out in the end. It's like, she's a cat too. She's just an evil robot cat. It's her nature to be kind of a dick, but she's still a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not sure
yeah.
what example this is setting for the more violent cats that are out there. Like instead of they just kick them out. I'm not sure if that's a
I'm
great
kind of wondering.
message.
I'm
But
kind of wondering, man. Is Rad gonna see with someone again? I mean, are they friends, like regular like buddies, or he's never gonna see her again? I just
yeah,
curious.
that was an interesting thing to call back. That
Yeah.
random Mighty Magiswords crossover.
Wait, who are we referring to right now?
The person in his
girl-
picture, he like pretended like, oh yeah, like I'm totally seeing her, and at the end he comes clean. He's
Oh,
like, no,
yeah.
we're just good platonic friends, and that's fine too.
Right.
Yeah, that was from that one crossover
Well-
episode that like
well, we
hasn't
know-
shown up again.
Well, we know for sure Rad and Raymond. That's totally the ship here.
Oh my god, yes. And then when he gets older, no, I was also thinking because like the awesome like Dr. Sphinxen who has like a coffin thing in the back of the store to sleep in. She asks him like, "Yo, you are here all the time. You obviously love cats so much. Why don't you ever adopt one?" And he says his parents are allergic and he can't.
Yeah,
So
that
when
made
he-
me so sad.
I know, but that means when he gets his own place, like he can hook up with Raymond, they can share like a bedroom, and he can adopt his favorite kitty. It would be
Mhm.
so great for them.
Am I the only one who still ships Enid and Rad a little bit?
No, you can
Ooh.
ship them. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
They're
It's
really
just-
they're
Well-
really good friends.
I know, but
And-
for once I'm in the heterosexual minority.
And by the way, I do have a little spoiler. There's a future episode called another Rad versus
Red Action.
Red Action. Yeah, Red Action. I
Oh.
yeah, episode
I know,
coming up.
I want
so-
Enid can date them both. Just let her
That's
date
true.
them both.
Enid does not need to be exclusive. She's so amazing. Like, who wouldn't want to get with her? Maybe she'll
It-
just, equal opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Red Action's from a different dimension, so it's like, you know, on the,
And by the way, speaking
one
of
for each,
the whole
one for
reason,
each.
the whole
I would
reason,
say
the
For each
whole,
hand.
by the way, and by the
She
way,
has two of them.
the whole reason Rad was a little racing with Enid was a little weird for a long time was because of those two his buddies, and he finally stood up to them in one of these episodes. Finally got their comeuppance, so good for him.
Yeah, I appreciate. Well, also like following up on the cat stuff. I recently adopted a cat a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I
so
thought
I'm
of
ve-
you.
I'm
when I
like
watched
very,
this also
very
about,
soft toward cats right now, so I was very angry when they kept like saying the kitties were lame, and then I was very, very puffed up my chest when like he was able to like defend the cats, the love of cats. So it
You
was
are
all-
kin with Rad.
yeah, because it's like, cat people are very valid, and there's no reason to call them lame just because
Yeah.
like, dogs, for some reason, are more popular. Like,
Haters
cats are
gonna
great.
hate.
Cat people and people who
and-
and cats
and
equally
for-
valid.
And media has always been so anti-cats. Like it's always been like
Yeah.
the dogs are the good guys and the cats are the bad guys, and the mice are the good guys, cats are the bad guys. Going all the way back to back to Tom and Jerry or the 1950 Cinderella movie or what have you. Cats have gotten a bad name.
No, it's
forever.
true, Steve. I've thought about this a lot as someone who's more pro cat, and like part of me. This is a tangent, obviously.
No, we can talk because
Well,
this is
like,
important to
I
like the history of
honestly-
animation.
There's like this weird gendering of cats and dogs where it's like,
Yeah.
dog is a
Mhm.
boy's best friend or whatever. And like people say like pussycat endearingly to their like female partner. I feel like that can't be a coincidence. The favoritism of dogs coded as male.
And also like the idea though that good guys they have dog sidekicks and the villains their sidekicks
They
have
pat cats,
as pets.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's a way to effeminize them and make them seem extra evil, which is
Damn.
terrible. How dare you?
And that's why the gendering is relevant to this episode, right? Because like Mega Football Baby and Bellbeef are like portrayed as these like stereotypical jock males. It's like, oh yeah, cats are lame,
Mm.
and so like and in also like lame in this episode is kind of like. Is kind of analogous to not masculine enough because like also
Totally.
yeah, so like the fact that like Rad at the end feels comfortable enough to be like, no, these are the things I like, and it's like I'm not gonna adhere to your like KO says something very deep in the middle there. It's like if something doesn't fit in your box, you feel threatened. So like, and that applies to
really
like
meta.
I'm
yeah, well,
kinda
that
wondering-
applies to like the whole gendering of things such as that and many other interests in your life. Like you should be
Speaking
able to
of-
like what you like. So just
Speaking of
that
genders,
part is very relevant to this.
Well, speaking of genders, I kind of wonder, is Mega Football Baby a trans? I'm not sure. It could be a girl or someone.
Because of the voice or what?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
just,
think
just
they
her
just
features.
have a baby voice. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of times babies are exclusively voiced by like
But
older voice actor
It'd be
ladies.
fascinating though if it was either trans or girl, and it had this exterior trying to act all macho, like trying to hide something. It just give more depth to the character. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we don't have enough there, but
Yeah.
So
You can have any headcanon you want, Steve.
yeah. Briefly, other stuff from the rescue episode, since I guess we're like there. As mentioned, Dr. Sphinxon, like kind of an Egyptian headdress. She's also got a tail, so like, is she
She's
like
awesome. She is a sphinx.
What is a sphinx exactly, though? Like
The sphinx. Okay, so they have a lion body but a human head, right?
Okay.
I think that's it.
So
yeah.
So she's a lion lady. Gotcha.
But she's got. If she has a human head, but like sphinxes are supposed to for some reason.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did Miss Mummy show up in this episode or no?
I don't
think so.
remember. No.
Because it feels like very hand in hand, right? Like the Dr. Sphinxon should know Miss Mummy somewhere. But anyways, let's hear anything else. Well, also just like the scenes of the cats playing with each other and like going on the cat towers. Like that's all very cute. So
Cute. Pure.
Oh, by the way, did someone post to Tumblr voice of who the person Brad was working for, the shelter?
Dr. Sphinxon?
Yeah, Dr. Sphinxon. Yeah, that she was also the voice of Patty Mayonnaise on the classic Doug show.
Wow, that's awesome.
And yeah, and as you also saw in the previous, we had Marilyn Chardoff as like one of the teachers at Point Prep. She was on the Rugrats cartoon, so it's kind of cool. All these voice actors from the past who've been out of the game for a while, they keep bringing them back.
I wonder who voices Fink, because her voice is always really
I know her. She
Really
she was she's Lisa Loud in Loud House. She's also Kari on the Digimon dub originally. So yeah, she's done a lot of voice work. Like originally started her career as a child actress on 80s show Give Me a Break.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't know the name off my head, but I know her voice.
Lara Jill Miller.
Yeah, Lara Jill Miller. Yeah, so she's done a lot of stuff. Like originally mostly in dub work, but now she's mostly doing Western animation stuff. So yeah, she's great. So.
Now, previous to this episode, we had the two other rad episodes that are connected of him going on the vacation. We have Planet Etz, which, as we talked about, the basic thing is that like he's dealing with the fact that he's kind of a jock and his family are nerds, but he finds this coach person to like prove his strength, and eventually he figures out that his mom used to be from the jock family and his dad is from the nerd, and so that's why he's kind of like in the middle. And he has this whole thing about like fitting in, and I think that this episode is it's got its funny moments. It's maybe not. This is a thing that's been touched upon before with Rad in terms of like where he stands, especially with the second episode with Radical Rescue. Also, like him struggling to find like where he fits in. So just this is another good addition to that. I especially enjoyed it at the end. There's like a line about nerds and jocks bonded long ago on Earth over fantasy football, arguing on the internet and video game.
Video game.
Yeah.
So good.
The animation of the custom video game that they show in the beginning and at the end is also pretty cool. I think that's a guest animation being done there, but I wanted to highlight that as like another example of OKKO like loving the video game styles, and so they're integrating them pretty well. I don't know.
I think that's like one of my favorite parts of the show is the video game world aspect. I didn't expect that.
Anything else from Planet Etz or from the Deep Space Vacation that you guys want to talk about?
His grandpa's kind of a butt, and I mean, I guess you can't choose your family. But Coach, I mean, maybe Video's game will soften him to nerds. I hope so.
Video's game brings everyone together.
He redeems himself a little bit. Compared to some other grandfather characters on another show we cover, I think we know which show I'm talking about. He's okay, at least a little better than that person. So
Okay, KO.
Oh my god, no, Carol said that in the big reveal. She's like, "Are you okay, KO?" And I was
Every
like,
time she says that, I'm like,
is that the thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
very satisfying.
There was a line where Rad says like, "I'm not gonna betray who I love," and Coach is like, "Sounds like something a nerd would say." So
Yeah, dang, Grandpa.
yes,
Back at it again.
And geez,
nerds love.
and by the way, and we'll find out that it probably might be something his daughter said to him long ago. So, like mother, like son, huh?
Maybe.
Dad, you're a nerd.
And we have a Deep Space Vacation, which is Enid and KO kind of missing Rad, and they decide to go visit him. Mr. Gar gives Enid her own space motorcycle.
Oh, and I love that moment.
That was so awesome.
That moment was so sweet between Mr. Gar and Enid. It's sort of like a father-daughter like moment. Like I thought that was nice.
And also, just like seeing Enid excited about stuff is kind of rare.
Yeah.
So like seeing Enid happy is always a good feeling.
She like put the stickers on immediately. I was like,
yeah, I think I saw somewhere that they like put the one of the stickers was the bi flag color, but I wasn't I'm not sure.
Yes,
it was on her. Did she have a bike? Because it was on a vehicle she had before.
I think she's worn
Yeah,
helmets before, like in one of the Red Action episodes. She wore a helmet.
No,
I
think okay. You guys are confusing that with Mystery Girl from Steven. She had a bi thing on her helmet.
No, but Enid had a bi thing on something earlier in like season 2 or something.
You did just watch all of it, so I believe you.
Thank you.
You've seen it more recently.
I'll find it.
And the rest of this episode is them in space dealing with Cosma, who is now a giant. So you guys remember Cosma?
Yeah,
she was in the council. She was at the party boat when Boxman crashed it and destroyed everything.
Right. And did we know she's just like a giant space alien? I feel like that's new information, but...
Yeah.
I love it. I love how big she is.
Allie has posted a picture of Enid wearing a helmet.
She does. Oh, that's so cute. I wish they'd sell that in the Cartoon Network store. I'd totally buy it. Those stickers, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also want the Shuriken sticker because I'm a weeb.
In the middle of this, Enid and KO get pulled into a black hole and they get like purple spaghetti fights. Like that's the interesting animation of that episode where they like are kind of also speaking kind of slow, like, oh, I guess we should give up and stuff. And it gets solved because Rad doesn't know that they've been eaten, but they do a giant
None of them know. They're too busy eating the feast to notice.
Too chill.
And it gets solved by a planetary belch, which is the biggest burp in the universe, and they got burped out, and everybody's happy.
I kind of wonder if this has happened before, that Cosmo's eaten this planet and just belches us out. Like, maybe they knew everything was going to work out because it's happened before.
Maybe. Allie, you mentioned you were into Radnid. At the very end, there's
Radnid, that name just...
It's a good ship.
Well, at the very end, there's a brief moment where Enid is like, "You're my favorite," and Rad is like, "Aw," and then Enid goes, "After KO." What?
After KO.
That was, basically. I love that dynamic so much. They're the parents, and he's the baby.
Yeah. And anything else from Deep Space Vacation that like stands out?
I have to look. Hold on. Best friend number 2.
Yeah. This was definitely very Dragon Ballish. I've seen like I know there's characters like called Gods of Destruction that sometimes they would eat planets. So this is nothing new to me.
Yeah, also like Galactus, isn't that like a superhero villain that like eats planets? I feel like that's a thing. But anyways, it's somehow we have gone an entire podcast almost without talking about the legend that is Rippy Roo.
Oh my god, I can't believe we met. I forgot Rippy Roo was a girl, which I'm sad I didn't remember that. But oh my god, her cat eye glasses. She looks like a 60s mom or something. It is so cute. She's a librarian. It's so adorable.
Like her and Carol are just like having like a conversation about their lives in a coffee shop. Like that's like that'd be like a perfect indie movie.
And also, this also is like this episode has the most Dendy in it, so
That's true at the beginning.
Yeah, Dendy's beret is around.
Turn.
Oh, I love how Dendy's like proactive, having a security system for her POW cards, and KO ought to take notes from her.
I guess story-wise, this episode is most relevant because it's setting up a little bit of the stuff that gets brought up again in Big Reveal, because it talks about, like, Rippy Roo was trying to find Laser Blast through her research and stuff.
Again, Venomous just stood there and he saw how his disappearance affected all these people's lives. Rippy Roo was another victim that he just stood there and just let it all happen and didn't say nothing.
Yeah, lots of sad Rippy Roo in this episode, just like her crying and like banging the table. Of course, you probably watched this episode, but if you haven't, just know that Rippy Roo doesn't talk in this episode.
She does talk.
Yeah, she does.
She just doesn't speak human, but she talks.
I can't believe I didn't. I don't even know if we might have brought this up earlier with Rippy Roo's character, but she's basically Blue from Blue's Clues. She talks like exactly the same, right? Yeah, it's the same as Blue. It just blew my mind when I put that together.
It blew your mind. No, sorry.
Oh, that was good.
And they perfectly understood Rippy Roo, yet they couldn't understand the monster. They need
It's a different language.
Yeah, they didn't take the linguistics classes that she did when she's getting her PhD.
Yeah,
Rippy Roo is real smart. Like just getting a
language
PhD
is hard, man.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I kind of maybe would be nice to have some Dendy Rippy Roo interactions because they're both very smart. So
they both have glasses. That means they're smart. That's true.
But Dendy's smart though. She's legitimately smart in terms of inventing stuff and building stuff. Like I said, the last batch. I mean, when we were trying to fix what's his name? The hero that turned evil, the robot hero. They could have used Dendy.
Chip.
With Chip, yeah, they could have used Dendy to fix Chip damage. I'm just saying.
I know that's true. They should have.
Also, Rippy Roo is smart because she's like, oh yeah, I knew Point was going bad, so that's why I left her.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit of a hindsight situation, but you know,
absolutely, it happens. You know, they got to do it sometimes.
You can see the signs.
I was impressed that, like, given the fact that all Rippy Roo is doing is like it's talking, that somehow, like, I did feel emotional when, like, Carol gets to be like, well, you were the only friend I had left, why did you leave? And then, like, Rippy Roo is, like, getting, like, teary-eyed and, like, banging the table. Like, somehow that did work on me, despite, like, how ridiculous it might seem from the outside. I don't know about you guys if you were... if you felt the same way, but like I was surprised at like how effective that scene was.
Yeah, me too.
Rippy's good at emoting, even if we can't understand her words. The feeling of them comes across.
The side thing, I guess, like this is like the main story, is that KO is like rescuing his POW card book from the big robot in Rippy Roo's pouch, which is just like a dimensional portal. That's not too consequential, but like it's
okay.
Good.
Maybe
fighting,
not for you, but it's very consequential for the Mechamaw. Because, okay, like, it took me the second time watching this to really be like, wait, this is terrible. Because, like, so the Mechamaw's been in that pouch for, like, who knows how many decades. He steals the book because he's so bored and lonely from being there for, like, 30 years or something? They're like, he needs something to entertain himself with. And he finally gets out of the patch, and everyone's just like, oh, yeah. I guess everything worked out. It's like he was trapped there for so long and he didn't remember he was even in the pouch. Like, I feel bad for him. I don't think he deserved that. Yeah, he didn't seem like that bad. He warmed up to everyone pretty quickly. So maybe he was imprisoned in the pouch for extenuating circumstances that weren't totally his fault either. Justice for Mechamaw.
I mean, look. Interesting. I mean, I would say maybe it's just that no one ever understood him, but Rippy Roo knows the language, and
she knows it now. She might not have known it then when she imprisoned him the first time.
Maybe
she didn't, because she went to college and then she
exactly.
Or maybe
did she gain empathy in college? Is that what
Well, maybe he can go to college now and learn the language a bit and become more smart, like Rippy Roo, and just
he's gonna learn English.
He buy his own cat eye glasses to wear.
So we have all that. Carol and KO watch in confusion as Rippy and Mikama are talking things out. But then KO and Mikama hold hands as they go to play with Dendi, and Carol says to Rippy, "It's a new beginning," and then we get the end. And so does that. So maybe we'll see Rippy again. Who knows? But
I hope so.
hopefully they get to resume their older woman friendship, because that's good.
They'll definitely have another cameo at least.
Yeah. Rippy will come to save us in the finale. She'll the giant's new robot. She'll just stick it in her pouch.
She's gonna come back and punch Venomous in the face for worrying about him for so many years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at the very beginning, Carol is, talking about Rippy, and she notices something that looks like Rippy off in the distance. It turns out it's just Crinkly Wrinkly dressed as Rippy.
Oh.
I love the Crinkly Wrinkly gag so much. Allie, I don't know if you know.
I'm everywhere!
Oh my god, thank you! He's
love
literally
Crinkly
one of my
Wrinkly.
top 4 characters of the show. I love him unironically. He's so
do
great.
I.
So
Thank you.
weird.
I'm glad. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah, now you have me.
Other than the mean team, he's my favorite.
He's hit or miss for me, but I enjoyed this joke, so that's why I wanted to point it out.
Well, he's always hit for me. Unlike the skeleton guy and his friend, that's always.
Come on, that's a pot shot. He wasn't even in these episodes.
I always connect them together. When I think Crinkly Wrinkly, I think of those guys too, because they're just as recurring in terms of Plaza characters that we see all the time.
I have a question for Allie about Brendan the Bear. So, Allie, in past podcasts, when there have been Brendan-centric episodes, I have made the connection that he's kind of like the Patrick Star of the dynamic. Because, he's kind of mean, but, when it comes down to it, he's still, a good friend to the skeleton. Yeah, but he's also kind of dumb. Do you see that comparison as valid?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think he's maybe smarter than Patrick, but lazier. He's
there you go.
He's definitely, yeah. But then, does that make a real skeleton Squidward? Because he doesn't seem like a SpongeBob to me.
I don't think he's quite as... I don't think he's, as narcissistic as Squidward. I don't think he gets bad luck as much as Squidward. Yeah. I don't know who he'd be, honestly.
Neither. But he's definitely, the Barry... What the hell is his name?
Something.
Brandon is definitely Patrick.
When is the coffee guy coming back?
Oh no!
Okay, we're too deep. We're too deep. Okay, so somehow this podcast is ending with a discussion about Brandon, a character that did not appear in these episodes. But all right. With that being said, final thoughts on this group of episodes before we begin wrapping up here. Michelle.
This was a fun group of episodes. I think I enjoyed it more since we talked about it, but I was already pretty high on it. I mean, the big reveal just kind of casts a flavor over everything, but I'm really glad we got a Rad arc. I'm really glad I got Cat episode. That was a nice surprise.
We got a Cat arc.
Yeah, we got Cat arc with Rad. I mean, that's kind of been seeded since season 1 too, so I'm nice that came to something. Rippy is wonderful. I'm so glad she got to have conversations with Carol and they could reconnect, and hopefully they will in the future more. Yeah, I'm curious, if KO is going to be going on trips with his evil dad now on the weekends, what does that mean? Are we going to get episodes of that? Because I definitely want to see that happen, so I'm excited.
Man, could you have, in the alternate universe where this show got, a 4th season, could you imagine just the last season being, KO and Venomous hanging out for the entire season?
And, Boxman being I packed a picnic! Yeah. I'm your new stepdad!
Make it happen.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah, well, we might at least get a couple of episodes, hopefully. Allie, your final thoughts on this group?
I forgot about the part where Rad has to, delete all the cat pictures on his phone. It was very relatable.
Yeah.
But it's like me with pasta. Anyway, this episode bunch was really good.
Interesting.
I love this show. It's definitely in if not the top 5, top 10 for this year of best shows on the network, because it's so enjoyable. I really don't find anything bad about it yet.
All right. Steve, final thoughts?
All these episodes here were great. I'd say the big reveal is the big episode everyone remembers. And it does make me have to look back at previous episode, re-examine them. But yeah, the episode was good too. Rippy Roo. I love her, man. I kind of want to see more of her. She's so adorable. I mean, she's like the furry Dendi of this.
Ashley is the best voice actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible that Ashley Birch also gets to do Rippy Roo.
That's like the best other role you could have for this show. Besides maybe Crinkly Wrinkly.
Yeah.
Who voices Crinkly Wrinkly?
Oh, wait, we
Ian
need
does. Ian does Crinkly Wrinkly. Ian, it's amazing. It's so good.
Enid and Rippy Roo team up. It's right there. We need to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, also glad to see Rad get some spotlight here. I'm interested to see though. We're actually gonna see more of his family, like meet our main cast here. I mean, where are we gonna go there? And what's gonna happen? Mr. Gar finds out Venomous is Laser Blast. Oh my god!
Yeah. They've got so many stepdads and dads.
I kind of wonder. Actually, I wonder who does know. I mean, we know Boxman knows, but does Boxman's kids know? Does Fig know? Does any of them know about this thing? I mean, or just a big secret between Venomous and Boxman up until now. So
Rad and Enid are gonna have to console KO too, because like they're
well, they don't know about it yet. And,
I thought the episode after the big reveal, like when I saw Rad, I thought KO was maybe going to talk to them about it, and I was kind of shocked.
People say that episode had no connection to Big Reveal. I disagree in a way, because I think that episode also about KO looking for a hero. You know, his dad let him down, so he's looking at Radicles maybe to be somebody to look up to. So
Mr. Gar.
that is an interesting way to connect those two. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, when we will talk about OKKO a little bit later. The only episode that we know is happening pretty soon is Let's Meet Sonic. When world-class heroes Sonic the Hedgehog and Tails visit the plaza, they team up with KO to save the day. That is going to come out on August 4th as a TV exclusive, so we will have to talk about Sonic somehow.
Hell yeah.
Maybe do that next week.
Maybe we will see how much material is there. Although, like, just the idea that like all the crossovers that OKKO has done to culminate in Sonic is really a piece of the pièce de résistance there.
Everyone on that team loves Sonic so much. This comes as no surprise to me at all.
Yeah, no, it's just a miracle that they got the rights at all. But like,
no, that is pretty awesome.
Speaking of crossovers. Remember, we did a crossover with the Scooby-Doo Ghoul Schools. I was going to mention that. Yeah. Okay, you're going to...
Yeah, as like a final piece of housekeeping, recently a big piece of animation news is that voice actress Russi Taylor passed away. She did the voice of Minnie Mouse for many years. Also did work on The Simpsons, DuckTales, which a show that we also have covered.
Young Donald.
Yeah, she did Young Donald on the 2017 version, and she also did the nephews in the original version of the show. And in OKKO, she did one of the Phantasma, one of the crossover characters in the Ghoul School episode as well. So she also has a connection to OKKO. So we just want to mention that, since she was a big part of both shows that this crew regularly covers.
I grew up with a lot of stuff she did, so just thank you, Rusty, for all your hard work. And Godspeed.
So yeah, with that in mind, we will begin concluding here. Thanks for listening. If you're interested in other stuff that we've talked about, you can find that at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord if you want to chat with us about animation. We have overlyanimated.com/Discord. We have a special channel for OKKO, and there was a lot of discussion when these episodes first came out to talk about the big reveals. So if there's something big that happens later, maybe with the Sonic episode, you can always come to talk over there about that. If you enjoy this podcast, you can always support us financially via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Phoenician. Thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. Besides OKKO, as mentioned, we've covered DuckTales in the past. Right now we're covering Final Space. We've got Miraculous Ladybug going on. We recently did a Lion King 2019 podcast. So there's a lot of different
forget we also got Fruit Baskets coming up soon.
Fruit Baskets.
We also cover anime as well. Okay. Ali, I haven't asked, because you're a big anime fan, unlike OKKO parodies a lot of anime. How do you feel about their treatment of that?
love it to bits. Like, I mean, it was not the defining thing for me to like get me started on it, but I had seen clips where they like, parody certain shows. I'm like blanking on anything they have done, but
Yu-Gi-Oh!
yeah,
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
there's a whole Yu-Gi-Oh
maybe
episode,
like
yeah.
Digimon, something like that. I don't know. I mean, I love when Western anime takes references from cartoons out of the country, so it's my fave, especially when it's anime because I'm the weeb.
Yeah. Well, I think this show it has a very wide appeal, but I definitely think that like people who enjoy anime like have a special liking to OKKO because like, it hits like a lot of like specific references that some of us sometimes miss, but like we get,
and even
that
just
it's
like the
referencing
styles
something.
of like comedy that it has. It's very some of it can be similar to like shonen anime or like slice of life
Yeah.
gags.
Yes. Yeah, so OKKO is a very special show, and we're glad to be able to cover it in this season 3. And so we'll be back to talk whenever the next group of episodes comes out, or a very special episode very soon. Until then, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Gotta go fast.